Hello, amazing learners, and welcome back to Easy English. I'm Marco, and I'm here with my incredible co-host, Erika. Today we're diving into something that will completely transform how you sound when speaking English.
That's right, Marco. We're revealing the pronunciation secrets that native speakers use without even thinking about it. These are the techniques that make the difference between sounding like you're reading from a textbook and sounding naturally fluent.
Before we jump in, we want to hear from you in the comments. Tell us, what's your biggest pronunciation challenge right now? Is it specific sounds, word stress, or maybe you feel like native speakers talk too fast to understand? Drop your answer below because we're going to address these exact issues today.
And here's something that might surprise you. Most English learners focus on individual sounds, but that's not where native speakers put their attention. We focus on patterns, rhythm, and flow. Today, we're going to teach you to think like a native speaker.
I remember when I was learning Spanish, I spent months perfecting the rolling R, but I still sounded foreign because I didn't understand the music of the language. The same thing happens with English learners who master individual sounds but miss the bigger picture.
Exactly. So if you've ever wondered why your English doesn't sound quite right, even when you know you're pronouncing words correctly, this video is specifically designed for you. We're going to give you the insider knowledge that will make you sound more natural immediately. 1. The schwa sound, English's best kept secret.
Let's start with the most important sound in English that nobody talks about, the schwa. Erika, can you believe that this one sound appears in almost every English sentence, yet most textbooks barely mention it?
It's incredible, Marco. The schwa is that relaxed sound. And here's the secret. Native speakers use it to replace vowels in unstressed syllables. For example, listen to how I say photograph. The O becomes schwa. Photograph.
This is why when you try to pronounce every vowel clearly and distinctly, you actually sound less natural. Native speakers are lazy with unstressed vowels. We reduce them to schwa. Think about the word banana. It's not ba-na-na. It's ba-na-na.
Here's a personal story that illustrates this perfectly. I once had a student from Germany who was pronouncing comfortable as comfortable, clearly articulating every vowel. But native speakers say comfortable 3 schwas in one word.
Exercise. 1. Let's practice this right now. I want you to say these words after me, focusing on reducing unstressed vowels to schwa. Camera, camru, not cam or ah. Chocolate, chos lat. Not choc o late. Different, diaphront, not diaph for int.
Here's your homework for mastering schwa. Record yourself saying these words both ways. First with clear vowels, then with schwa reduction. You'll immediately hear which sounds more natural. The schwa version will sound much more like native speech.
And remember, this isn't about being lazy. It's about following the natural rhythm of English. When you master schwa, you're not just changing individual sounds, you're starting to speak with English rhythm.
2. Connected speech. Why native speakers sound fast. Now, let's tackle something that frustrates every English learner. Why do native speakers sound like they're speaking so fast? The secret isn't speed, Marco. It's connection.
Absolutely. Native speakers don't pause between words like I am going to the store. We connect everything into one flowing stream. I'm going to go to the store. We link, blend, and merge sounds together.
This is called connected speech, and it has specific patterns. For example, when a word ends with a consonant and the next word starts with a vowel, we link them. Turn it off becomes tur nitoff. The words flow together naturally.
Here's something that blew my mind when I first learned about teaching pronunciation. Native speakers actually use more muscle memory than conscious pronunciation. We've trained our mouths to move efficiently from sound to sound.
Let me share an embarrassing story. When I was learning French, I kept pausing between words because I was translating in my head. My French teacher finally said, "Erika, French doesn't have spaces when you speak." The same applies to English.
Exercise 2. Marco, let's practice connecting speech. Say these phrases as one smooth unit. What are you doing? Becomes what you doing? I have to go becomes I have to go. Did you eat yet? Becomes do you eat yet?
The key is to think of phrases as single units, not individual words. Native speakers chunk language into meaningful groups and connect everything within each chunk.
And here's a pro tip. Start with common phrases you use every day. Practice connecting them until it becomes automatic, then gradually expand to longer sentences.
3 word stress patterns that change everything.
Erika, let's talk about something that can make or break your English pronunciation, word stress. This is where many intermediate learners get stuck because they focus on sounds but ignore rhythm.
Word stress is like the heartbeat of English, Marco. When you get it wrong, even if every individual sound is perfect, native speakers will notice something's off. For example, photograph is PHOHTUGRAF, but photography is FUHTOGRUFEE.
This drives me crazy when I hear students say computer instead of computer. The stress pattern completely changes how the word sounds and feels. English has predictable stress patterns once you know the rules.
Here's what most textbooks don't tell you. Stress affects vowel quality. In photograph, the stressed syllable has a clear O sound, but in photography, that same vowel becomes schwa because it's no longer stressed.
I learned this the hard way when I was studying linguistics. I spent weeks trying to figure out why economy and economic sounded so different, even though they're obviously related words. Then I realized it's all about stress shift. Exercise 3. Erika, let's practice stress patterns with word families. Say these pairs and feel how the stress moves. PHO to graph, photography, economai, econom ik, comfortable. Here's a technique that works incredibly well. Tap your finger or nod your head on the stressed syllable. This physical movement helps your brain remember the rhythm pattern.
And remember, when you change the stress, you often change the vowel sounds too. This is why word stress and vowel reduction work together as a system. 4. The truth about silent letters. Marco, let's address something that confuses every English learner: silent letters. But here's the secret most people don't know. These letters aren't really silent. They're historical markers that still affect pronunciation.
That's fascinating, Erika. Take the word night that K used to be pronounced hundreds of years ago. Now it's silent, but it affects the vowel sound. Without understanding this, learners try to apply logic to English spelling, and that's impossible.
The key insight is this: don't memorize which letters are silent. Instead, learn whole word patterns. Words ending in MB almost always have silent B. Lamb, thumb, climb. Once you see the pattern, you can predict the pronunciation.
I remember teaching a student who was frustrated with island because she kept pronouncing these. But when I showed her that it's related to aisle, the pattern suddenly made sense. Historical connections explain these apparent irregularities.
Here's what's really helpful. Silent letters often mark word families. Sign, signal, signature. The G is silent in sign, but pronounced in the others. This helps you see the relationships between words.
Exercise 4. Marco, let's practice common silent letter patterns. Silent B words: comb, tomb, debt, doubt. Silent K words: knife, knee, no, right. Silent O words: half, calm, talk, walk.
Pro tip: when you encounter a new word with unusual spelling, don't just memorize it in isolation. Research its word family and find the pattern. This makes English spelling much more logical.
And remember, silent letters aren't mistakes. They're clues to the word's history and connections. Understanding this makes English feel less random and more systematic.
5. Intonation, the music of English.
Now we're getting to something really exciting: intonation. Erika, this is where English becomes like music, and it's probably the most underrated aspect of pronunciation.
Absolutely, Marco. Intonation is how your voice rises and falls, and it carries emotional meaning. The same sentence can sound friendly, angry, confused, or sarcastic, depending on your intonation pattern.
Here's something amazing. Native speakers use rising intonation to show we're not finished speaking, and falling intonation to show completion. For example, in a list, I need milk up, eggs up, bread up, and butter down.
This is why flat intonation makes you sound robotic, even if your grammar and vocabulary are perfect. I once had a student whose English was grammatically flawless, but everyone asked if he was upset because his intonation was completely flat.
The emotional impact is incredible. Thanks a lot. With falling intonation sounds genuinely grateful, but with rising intonation it sounds sarcastic. Same words, completely different meaning. Exercise 5. Erika, let's practice basic intonation patterns. Say really in these different ways. Really? Surprised. High rise. Really? Confirming. Fall. Really. Thinking. Slight. Rise then. Fall. Here's a technique I love. Practice reading the same sentence with different emotions. I can't believe you did that can sound amazed, angry, proud, or disappointed, based purely on intonation.
And here's the secret: intonation is more important than perfect consonants and vowels for being understood. If your intonation is natural, native speakers will understand you even with some pronunciation errors. 6 reduction techniques native speakers use. Let's dive into something that will immediately make you sound more natural: the reduction techniques that native speakers use automatically. Marco, this is where efficiency meets fluency.
Exactly. Native speakers are incredibly efficient with their mouth movements. We reduce, contract, and blend sounds not because we're lazy, but because it's the natural flow of the language. What are you going to do becomes what you gonna do?
The most common reductions involve function words, the small words that hold sentences together. And becomes an, or even disappears. Fish and chips sounds like fish and chips. These words get reduced because they're not carrying the main meaning.
Here's something that surprised me when I started analyzing natural speech. Native speakers reduce differently in different contexts. In casual conversation, we reduce much more than in formal presentations. It's about matching your register to the situation.
I love teaching the gonna wanna hafta trio because it immediately makes students sound more natural. But here's the key. These aren't just casual slang. They represent the natural vowel reduction that happens in rapid speech.
Exercise. 6. Marco. Practice these common reductions. Going to, gonna, want to, wanna, have to, hafta, out of, outa, a lot of, a lotta.
Here's an advanced technique. Record yourself having a casual conversation, then listen for where you naturally want to reduce sounds. Your intuition is often correct. You just need to trust it.
Remember, reduction isn't about speaking incorrectly. It's about speaking naturally. Even in professional settings, some reduction is normal and expected.
7. Common pronunciation traps to avoid.
Let's talk about the pronunciation mistakes that immediately mark you as a non-native speaker, Erika. These are the traps that even advanced learners fall into.
The biggest trap is overpronouncing everything, Marco. When learners focus too much on clarity, they actually sound less natural. Native speakers are selectively clear. We emphasize important words and reduce others.
Another huge trap is ignoring the difference between spelling and pronunciation. English spelling was standardized centuries ago, but pronunciation kept evolving. That's why rough, though, and through all end differently, despite similar spelling.
Here's a trap I see constantly. Learners try to pronounce every syllable equally. But English is a stress-timed language, which means stressed syllables get more time, and unstressed ones get squeezed together.
The perfectionism trap is real too. I've worked with students who wouldn't speak because they were afraid of making mistakes. But here's the truth. Native speakers make pronunciation mistakes all the time in casual speech. Exercise. 7. Erika, let's identify and fix these common traps. Trap. Pronouncing every letter in Wednesday. Fix. Say Wednesday. Trap. Equal stress in important. Fix. Say important. Middle syllable stressed. The key is to aim for natural, not perfect. Focus on being understood and sounding natural rather than pronouncing every sound with textbook precision.
And remember, regional accents exist even among native speakers. Your goal isn't to sound like you were born in Ohio. It's to sound natural and confident in your own variety of English. 8. The power of shadowing practice. Now let's talk about the most powerful pronunciation technique that most learners never try: shadowing. Marco, this technique can transform pronunciation faster than any other method I know.
Shadowing is incredible, Erika. You listen to native speech and try to speak along simultaneously, matching not just the words, but the rhythm, intonation, and flow. It's like vocal karaoke for language learning.
What makes shadowing so effective is that it bypasses your analytical brain. Instead of thinking about rules, you're training your mouth muscles and rhythm patterns directly. It's how babies learn pronunciation, through imitation and repetition.
I discovered shadowing by accident when I was singing along to English songs while learning. I noticed my pronunciation improved dramatically, not from studying sounds, but from matching the musical patterns of the language.
The key is choosing the right material. Start with clear, moderate speed speech, maybe TED Talks or news broadcasts. Avoid music at first because the rhythm is artificial, and avoid very fast casual speech until you're ready.
Exercise 8. Marco, let's try a mini shadowing session right now. Listen to me say this sentence first. The weather today is absolutely beautiful. Now play it again and try to speak along with me, matching my rhythm and intonation exactly. Don't worry about perfection. Focus on the flow and music.
Here's the progression I recommend. Start by shadowing just 10 to 15 seconds at a time, gradually increase to longer passages, then move to faster or more casual speech styles.
And here's a pro tip. Record yourself shadowing, then compare it to the original. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can hear and correct differences in rhythm and flow.
9. Your pronunciation action plan.
All right, incredible learners, we've covered a lot of ground today. Erika, let's give our viewers a clear action plan they can start implementing immediately.
Absolutely, Marco. First, choose one technique from today's video to focus on this week. Don't try to master everything at once. If word stress is your biggest challenge, spend this week just on stress patterns.
Second, find 10 to 15 minutes daily for focused pronunciation practice. This isn't about perfection, it's about building new habits. Consistency beats intensity every single time.
Third, record yourself regularly. Your ears need training just as much as your mouth. Record the same sentence once a week and listen for improvements over time.
Fourth, and this is crucial, practice with real communication, not just exercises. Use these techniques while talking to friends, ordering coffee, or even talking to yourself in the mirror.
Here's something we want you to remember. Pronunciation improvement isn't linear. You'll have breakthrough moments followed by plateaus, and that's completely normal. Trust the process.
Exercise 9, your weekly challenge. Marco, this week we challenge you to choose 3 words you use frequently and practice them with correct stress. Try shadowing for 5 minutes daily with the same audio clip. Record yourself reading one paragraph and listen for areas to improve.
And please, share your progress with us. Comment below with your biggest aha moment from today's video, or tell us which technique you're going to focus on this week.
Remember, every native speaker you admire started exactly where you are now. The difference is consistent practice with the right techniques, and now you have those techniques.
Before we wrap up, let's address something important. Pronunciation is just one part of communication. While these techniques will make you sound more natural, don't let pronunciation anxiety hold you back from actually speaking.
Exactly. The goal is confident communication, not perfection. These techniques should free you to express yourself more naturally, not create new pressure or anxiety.
We know some of you are thinking, this seems like a lot to remember. Start small, be patient with yourself, and celebrate small improvements. Every step forward is meaningful progress.
And remember, you don't need to sound like a native speaker to be an effective communicator. You need to be clear, confident, and natural in your own voice.
If this video helped you understand pronunciation in a new way, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Easy English. We create videos like this every week to support your English learning journey.
In the comments, tell us which pronunciation secret surprised you the most today. Was it the schwa sound, connected speech, or maybe the power of intonation? We love hearing from you.
Next week, we're diving into grammar mistakes that make you sound non-native. And trust me, some of these will shock you. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it.
Until then, keep practicing, keep improving, and remember, every conversation is an opportunity to use these new techniques. You've got this.
Thanks for joining us on Easy English today. We'll see you in the next video.